Well, it's Saturday, and I wanted to discuss a topic that has been heavily requested from people, whether it's on Twitter, through email, everywhere. I've seen comments, and that has to do with DKOldies. And recently, they've really come under fire and really blown up online with some of their refurbished systems, or refurbished, quote unquote. And as someone who was essentially in that business for, almost a decade now that I think about it, I had some thoughts on it, and I didn't really think it made a lot of sense anymore for me to order something from them, but I still wanted to give some of my thoughts around what exactly is going on here. So if you guys enjoy the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and we're going to start with today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Factor. Sticking to your nutritional goals can be tough with how busy our lives tend to be. Having to go to the grocery store, cook, clean, all this can take hours of your time. That's where Factor comes in. You have fresh, never frozen meals delivered straight to your door from a selection of 34 chef-prepared weekly options. With meals ranging between keto, calorie smart, vegan, veggie, and protein plus, there's something for everyone. Factor also has more than 36 different sweets, smoothies, and juices for add-ons. My favorite part is you can have a meal ready in just a few minutes. I typically will have a Factor meal for lunch since I can pop it into the microwave and have a delicious meal ready to go in no time. Also, cleanup is a breeze, so I'm on with my day while sticking to my nutritional goals. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code SpawnWave50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. That's factor75.com or click the link below and use code SpawnWave50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Thanks again to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so first of all, what exactly is DKOldies, or who is DKOldies? Well, from what I've seen, it's an online retail store that mostly deals with retro gaming systems and games and all of this. And at one point in time, I had the idea of buying GameCube stuff from them. And this is before all the refurbished stuff was going around, because for a while I was ordering different retro games, mostly focusing on GameCube as I was working to finish up my collection overall. And that marathon it's still going, but I noticed their prices were fairly high, and that's one of the biggest criticisms is if you go on here and you look at their games, they're pretty expensive. Like, these, I believe, are loose prices. So if you go into like Metroid Prime and you can find it with the manual, the case, cover art, all that, it's $68. That's pretty high up there for Metroid Prime. I know GameCube games in general have inflated in price and value, but even that, I'm like, ooh, that feels kind of pricey. I think you get like the bonus disc involved, and it's like $80 for all of that. So right off the bat, I look at it and I go, it feels kind of like a waste. Although, sure, it'd be interesting to, as kind of an experiment, to see what you get exactly. But as I was contemplating this, other people started really doing it a lot, and it seemed at what they were getting didn't really match up with the prices. And it also kind of goes against one of my biggest things when I buy used retro games. I want to see it, and you can't see it on their website. It's just stock images, and you just kind of take their word for it with what you get. And it is definitely a roll of the dice, more so than eBay, where you can just avoid those listings completely and find ones that have like 8 pictures of all different angles of the cartridge or the disc and the case and what have you. But the biggest thing that they are currently under fire for has to do with their refurbished systems. And something I noticed as I was looking through all of their systems, which just here's a PS3, right, as an example. You click on it, and every one of them just seems to have the condition of refurbished, as in they don't sell used systems, they sell refurbished. Because there is a difference, by the way, which we can discuss here in a second, but they do list in their description that it's refurbished, cleaned, and tested. Now, some of the videos that I've seen pop up online for people who are buying these refurbished systems to unbox and open up and just see how they show up for, again, the generally inflated values of them. I think the backwards compatible PS3 was $400, and spoiler, I found some backwards compatible PS3s that we're gonna do videos on in the future that need some work, and I'm seeing them for like $160, $170 with an authentic PS3 controller. So I've seen Review Tech do them, I've seen Jacob R do them, and generally I'll take a look to see what the condition is, and I'll decide how much further I want to go with it if I actually want to order one of these. But based on what I've seen, there seems to be a bit of a misunderstanding as to what refurbished and used is seemingly on their end. So when I would do refurbishments, which I did a lot of them. All right. So it might have been in the thousands. I would come into the store and probably do anywhere from 8 to 10 in a single day. And that would end up being like a 12-hour shift. So I was trying to get through them at a pretty good pace. And I mean, like I had some pretty good equipment there too. I had to go back and look through some of my pictures from way back when, and I found like 2 of them. One of them was an older machine that I had that was earlier on. Like, these are our old Zephyrtronics. This thing took a beating. I used this thing 7-8 times a day. It was constant, and its job was mostly to be able to lift chips off of boards, kind of loosening the solder underneath with the ball grid arrays and all of this. So reballs, reflows, actual serious board work that I'll tell you now 80% of shops stay away from. It's so temperamental. These systems, the 360 and the PS3, not a great era for quality overall and reliability. The yellow light was all kinds of different things that came down to even like capacitors on the board. Sure, it could also be the RSX, but it's just general hardware failure. The Xbox 360 red ring, I don't even need to tell you much about that anymore. I feel like it's been covered a million times. But most places would send their stuff away, and that includes stores, to have someone who's more specialized work on it. And that's actually something I would do, because we would get systems sent to us all the time from stores. They would ship them in even, and any given day I might have a box full of 20 consoles show up. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because based on what I've seen in some of these videos with DKOldies, I don't necessarily think they have the tools to refurbish something like a PlayStation 3, even an Xbox 360 correctly. And from the videos, you could see high amounts of dust, dirt, and it's pretty clear they don't go down to the chips themselves to change out the thermal compound for basically any of those systems. So can you actually say a device like a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360 are refurbished if you're not doing things like changing out thermal compound and stuff? Well, technically, you can open the system and fix an issue with the disk drive or the laser, and you can go, hey, look, it's refurbished. We fixed it up. And yes, it would be refurbished. However, I think if you're going to sell it at these kind of prices, you would want to go the extra mile for cleaning in the off chance that, yes, somebody does open them. And I have a lot of stories about people opening systems that we would refurbish or sell used. So if you sell a system that's used, there's the understanding that extensive work did not need to be done to the system. It was traded in. You've tested it. Seems fine. Maybe you give it a nice wipe down on the outside, disinfect it, whatever, and then you pair a controller with it and you sell it that way, right? You're essentially saying, we didn't have to open this. We didn't have to do any work to it. Trade it in. We're flipping it. Here you go. Yeah, sure. That makes sense to me. Refurbished means, though, that you're going in, you're fixing some kind of issue with it, and you're most likely cleaning it and putting it into not necessarily like new condition, but I would actually just say overall good condition. And to be honest, the bare minimum would be thermal compound change and cleaning any of the dust. Even if I had to do a laser for a PS3 or a 360, I would still check things out when it comes to the chips themselves and an overall cleaning of the heat sinks, which if you're that far, you might as well pop the X clamps or the standard screws on the PS3 and change the compound off there, because if anything, I don't really want it to come back for something like overheating. I might as well fix it up to the best of my ability and send it out, hoping that it has a long life, hopefully years down the road. But again, it's the 360, and that red ring just popped up whenever it wanted to. Now, with all that in mind, there was still a cost that you had to keep in mind. It's because you're running a business. You couldn't spend all day working on one system. I know there are people out there who think you're going to spend 10, 12 hours on one PlayStation or one Xbox or one Wii or something. That's just not feasible, really. You could go as far as to take every part out of that system, ultrasonic clean it, put it back together, and it'll be this nice, pristine looking device, but then you sell it and you end up actually selling it at a loss because of the amount of labor that you're paying out to a person to do all of that. So there's a balance there. Maybe you get a Wii in and it just needs a laser. You clean it out a little bit. You don't change the pads inside because it's not really required. Maybe it's a GameCube and you just want to open it up and clean out the heat sinks and the laser and that sort of thing. And you put it back together. To me, that makes sense as well. It really comes down to the platform and how much you're able to get for it. That said, the prices that they're charging here tell me that they probably could have someone spend a good portion of the day just working on that one PlayStation 3 as an example, when the backwards compatible model is being sold at like $400. There was also some mention of the warranty stickers that they have on their systems. I have a lot of stories around the warranty sticker and why I ended up putting warranty stickers on some of my refurbished systems. And some of that had to do with, I'm not even kidding, at one point I had one customer who kept bringing the system back over and over and over again. On the third time, I was like, I'm going to mark this motherboard. So I put like an initial on the back side underneath of it, where like in the corner. And in my mind, I'm like, I fixed this thing so many times. There haven't been any issues, and they keep bringing it back. Well, the next time they brought it back, it was a different motherboard because my initial wasn't there, and I mentioned it to them, and they never came back to pick up their system. So I don't know what was going on there. I don't know if they were changing it out with bricked motherboards or something along with the drive board. Is very sketchy stuff there. So from then on, I incorporated a warranty sticker, not necessarily something that could really be enforced, as in you break this sticker and now you have zero warranty, more or less. So I had just more knowledge if a system kept coming back, because if that warranty sticker is missing, then I could start asking you questions about why it's missing and what exactly you had to open it for. Especially nowadays, because I believe we're to a point where regulations or laws or whatever has been passed to where the warranty sticker really doesn't mean much of anything for these larger companies, which is great because the warranty stickers were some of the most annoying things to have to deal with. And then I guess really the last thing here with DKOldies, and it comes up a lot. I see it in titles, descriptions, all these things. Some people even message me and are like, is this a scam? Are they scamming people? For game prices, a store can charge whatever they want technically, and then let the free market decide. I do think for many of us who are on YouTube or really in the weeds with the retro stuff when it comes to pricing and we're shopping around, we're probably going to avoid them for that pricing, because we know there are other places we can go, like eBay or even Amazon or local listings, to find better prices. I think really what they're looking for are people who are much more casual in the retro market and want an experience where they're not dealing with an individual through eBay. There's a roll of the dice with all of that, and technically it is with DKOldies because you don't really see what you're getting, but if there's a problem, you know where to go to get it resolved. The website you bought it from here, right? And that's one of the reasons people would spend a little more money in retail stores to buy things like Nintendo 64 or GameCube or PlayStation games, because there was a place to go back to with a physical receipt. Now, the angle where I gotta be honest is look a little sketchy is the refurbishment side. Just from what I've seen from YouTubers who are getting these systems in, opening them up, you'd have to at least clean them somewhat if you removed 6 screws from the top of that PS3 and saw the dust bunnies in there. So yeah, it does kind of look like a lot of these systems are being sold under the wrong condition, where they'd be underused rather than refurbished, and that could be to hype up the price and the reason, give you a reason to spend that kind of money on these systems. I guess that'd be my one real I guess suggestion is consider what's used and what's refurbished, because there absolutely is a difference. And again, as someone who had done this for so long, for so many different stores at really up and down the East Coast, yeah, you'd want to make sure the customer knows exactly what they're buying, and a warranty sticker really shouldn't stop them from checking your work when they get it in. You know what I do want to give DKOldies credit for, though? They are really good at marketing themselves. I think some of that has to do with YouTube Shorts, which, that seems like a great device to use to get the word out there for an online store, whether it's retail, for retro, or anything else. And I kind of wish we had YouTube Shorts way back in the day when I was doing this full time. So based on all the information that's out there and what I've seen from other people on YouTube, I just think the point's been made as to exactly what's going on at DKOldies, and it feels sort of like a waste to buy some of these systems from them for refurbish, just to open them up and find out that they didn't really refurbish them correctly. But I have some other stuff that I'm looking at on places like eBay that I think we could have some fun with. So let me know what you guys think about all of this down below, as many people were asking me, suggesting to me that I check out DKOldies and order some things. But I just wanted to give you guys an explanation as to why I'm not necessarily looking into them at this time. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.